Hello everybody, and welcome back to MUFC MPB. Of course, my name is Brooks, and today is Sunday, the 24th of September, one day after we managed to beat Burnley 1-0 away at Turf Moor. So that is a good result, obviously. I'm very happy with that. As you can tell by the title as well, there is some big news. There is some breaking news regarding a possible Qatari takeover. But I'm just going to wait a couple of seconds to reveal this big news until I know for a fact that I'm 100% live. I think I am. I believe I am live. Right. So, Ben Jacobs, who is a sports broadcaster, has reported that apparently Manchester United are still actively trying to, get a buyer, and Sheikh Jassim, I think the representative for the Qatari group, who are trying to purchase Manchester United. Ben Jacobs says, ultimately, if Sheikh Jassim in particular wants Manchester United, he may eventually have to pay what it takes, or certainly get closer to that £6 billion pound number. So obviously £6 billion is the number reported that it would take for somebody to buy Manchester United. I think last week you would have seen that I think 10 billion was reported in that, the Glazers are going to take it off the market and going to do this and that. That's not true. I don't believe that to be true. I've seen a couple of comments. I've seen a comment here from Tony. I'm going to talk about that in a sec. But I do think this is true, mainly because of the time it's taken for this all to happen. And I know that, we had a win yesterday and we want to keep that positivity going. So they might have released something to do with a potential takeover. But this is something that goes against the Glazers. And the Glazers, I don't know. I don't think this is PR, basically. I think this is true. Mainly based on the amount of time that the club has been on sale, the amount of time that there have been reported Sir Jim Ratcliffe bids, and who was the other guy? I can't remember the other guy from Iceland or something, and then the Qatari group. I think this is legit. It makes sense because the stock price of Manchester United is falling, the results aren't going our way, the fans are starting to get pissed off, and I don't know. I think it might be time for them to go, and I think they might understand that it might be time for them to go. And remember as well that a few of the Glazer family, so the daughter, one of the sons, and I want to say Joel, but it might be Avram, they are for selling the club. They want to get out of the club. Whereas I believe it's Avram, the oldest one, who is determined to stay in for as long as possible. So look, even the family themselves are a bit give and go with it. A few of them want to get rid of Manchester United and, get the money in, and one of them doesn't. So I think it's going to happen. Zayn says, let me tell you, this new bid will not be made public. The groups will be discussing increasing their offer, which will be the final fee. Yeah, no, obviously, 100%. I know that everything that goes on in terms of the rebuild, the selling of the club, all the small talks behind the scenes, it will be behind the scenes. A lot of stuff will be off the record, so a lot of stuff won't be allowed to be reported. Anything that we see is stuff that we've been allowed to see. This is what you have to remember especially when it comes to journalism, regarding something as big as Manchester United, one of the biggest sales in sports history. I want to say, I'm going to say that confidently, actually. Anything that we see is stuff that we've been allowed to, stuff that's been allowed to be made public. So take everything with a pinch of salt, because they'll be releasing certain things to appease people, to get people excited, to say, oh, we're going to do this and this and this by then, so people have different expectations, and then of course it doesn't happen. But it's all done on purpose. Remember, guys, it's all done on purpose. Tony here says, but haven't we been here before? What makes this time different? They keep playing with our emotions. I think what makes this time different is because it's not right at the beginning. Right at the beginning, you have all of the speculation. You have however many different bidders coming in. You're going to see different faces, celebrities. Like David Beckham was approached by the Qataris to be I don't want to say ambassador, but somewhat a part of the bid. All of that stuff has gone. It's all subsided. Everyone's over that now. We're getting into the territory of, this is going to be the final stages of whatever's happening, whether that's an actual sale, whether that's the Glazers keeping it, whether that's the Glazers part selling. We're all getting to the final stages now. But what I do think as well is next, the financial year. This is me just going off the top of my head, by the way. This is what I've learned, just by living. The financial year, I think, ends around April or March or something. So stuff gets published, profits and losses and whatever, financial activity has been happening over the past financial year has to get released to the public to be made visible. The Glazers, I believe, didn't take dividends out this year. I would imagine due to the, speculation surrounding a potential sale of the club. And they almost definitely... I feel like if... This is how I'm trying to say it. If the Glazers are going to sell, they won't be taking out dividends from the club. The financial year is the 31st of March, which Maximus says there. I can't remember the date in which stuff gets published, but if something gets published, like if if Manchester United's financial records gets published, and then it's made evident that the Glazers are still taking out money, what we can see then is that the Glazers aren't selling. The Glazers are going to be here for a long time, and I guess we'll have to come to our own conclusions. I think that they're going to get this done before the end of the financial year. I said last week or something that I hoped it would be done before the end of 2023, but it doesn't look likely because these things do take time. If they're still trying to decide on a final number for the bid that would actually secure the club from the Qatars, then yeah, I guess it could be done soon, but I don't think that's here yet. Zayn said the Class A earnings call the Class A earnings call is this Thursday, so we may hear something. We hear next week, the weekend, next Wednesday, Tuesday, every day of the week we've heard so far. So I personally don't really take notice of we're going to hear something on Thursday, because we might just hear they're thinking about another bid, or the Glazers are thinking about it. We're all thinking. Manchester United always thinking. They've never thought. It's always thinking. They're always doing something. They haven't done anything. That's the problem with these rumours and next Thursday or next Friday. So I personally wouldn't take that too seriously. I'll take it with a pinch of salt at the very least. But Ben Jacobs, the guy who released a statement, I'll go over that again because there are some more people in here now. Ben Jacobs, who is a sports broadcaster, says, ultimately, if Sheikh Jassim in particular wants Manchester United, he may eventually have to pay what it takes, or certainly get closer to that 6 billion number. So I guess from that, we can definitely tell that 10 billion was a stretch. It was a joke or a lie or just something to get something out there. But 6 billion pounds, that is pounds, by the way, seems to be the number that everybody is agreed on, or that's the number that the Glazers want. So I don't know. If I was a Qataris, I would just pay it, because we know the Glazers are stubborn. But Ben Jacobs also says a new bid from Sheikh Jassim to buy Manchester United cannot be ruled out, or can't be ruled out. So I guess we have to take it with a pinch of salt. I don't want to get too excited, because I've been there before. I was there in the summer when I thought Manchester United were going to get sold, and obviously we didn't. Then the cycle is repeating itself. So I'm trying not to fall for anything, and I hope you guys aren't falling for anything this time. I really hope not, because I don't think we can deal with those emotions. But it does look like the Qataris are going to buy Manchester United. Zayn says, interesting how Snapdragon was chosen as our new shirt sponsor with no time given for how long. Also seemed like a safe option for the Glazers, because Snapdragon already sponsor the club. Can I just ask you a question about Snapdragon? Is that Snapdragon the same company that make the operating systems for mobile devices, like Snapdragon 4.0 for Android devices, or is this something completely different? Because if it is the mobile operators, then I'm happy with that, because that is a lot of money, massive in America, which I think might be something to do with the Glazers trying to, get Snapdragon on the kit. So all these Americans, where they're from, the Glazers are getting Snapdragon, blah blah blah. Okay, so I am right. I do know about technology, guys, by the way. Tony Bravo says, if Qatar do come in, hopefully they get in before the don't say that. Even just putting that out in the air is going to give some people some optimism, and don't think we're ready for that just yet. Maximus Econ. Is it Maximus Econ or Econ, by the way? Just let me know if I'm pronouncing that. Econ or Econ, so one or two. This is why I think it's other significant data analyst. Wait, this is why I think it is other significance like data analysts. Snapdragon is linked with Qualcomm, I believe. I think they are as well. My mum works with Qualcomm. Don't know if I should have said that. Let's pretend I didn't say that. Zayn says, either way, during the due diligence process, the groups will have been told any sponsorship deals in the works. Very true. Yeah, so obviously, good point, Zayn. This isn't something... Snapdragon isn't something that would have just been conceptualized in a board meeting 2 weeks ago. This would have been in the works for a very long time. So all the normal proceedings of the club will still be happening, will still be going on. So I would imagine... I mean, I would try and say anything that happens, like the Snapdragon thing, don't take it as an indication, even though it could be. I don't know. It's so tricky. Bath Time says bring back the brolly. It's in the other room. I'm in. I moved my whole thing, everything to my bedroom actually. So honestly, to God, so I could play FIFA on from my bed. Speaking of FIFA, I will be streaming. So if you guys do want to be watching a pack opening, maybe later tonight or tomorrow, then make sure you follow me on Twitter, and you will find out. But I should be streaming tonight. I bought the Ultimate Edition, got 4-6 points, and then added more. So, and there are some promo packs. But I do actually want to start making videos and streaming and have a road to glory on FIFA and all of that. But back to the club takeover. Maximus says, I mean, like the DXC tech who was on the sleeve of United kit were here for upgrade. Why can't I read properly? Maximus, I mean, like the DXC tech who was on the sleeve of the United kit were here for upgrading the tech of United, like the data analyzing. I'm saying the same maybe with Snapdragon. I hope so. I hope, look, any sort of improvement that Manchester United can make to improve what happens on the pitch, improves what happens off the pitch, with the manager, with the coaching staff, with the medical team, anything, do it. I'm here for it. I want any sort of improvement we can get because, you know, obviously we haven't been very good for the past decade, and we need all the help we can get. But at the end of the day, nothing's going to happen. Nothing is really going to improve if the Glazers don't go, because they don't invest. They don't want to improve. They don't improve the infrastructure of the club, the stadium. I believe they did improve the training facilities. There were pictures and, you know, stuff looked different. It looked a bit more modern, especially after the Ronaldo interview. So, I don't know. Bath Time says, you don't have any art or photos in your bedroom? No, I don't. I actually had one poster, because I used to work in a shoe shop called JD, and I don't know, you know when you go into any sort of store and you see massive adverts on the front window? I took one of them because they were throwing it out, but it accidentally melted because I left it in front of the radiator. So that was the only thing I had. But I'm not really I don't know, I don't look at pictures and think, wow, I want that on my wall. So I don't know, I'm not really too bothered about it, to be honest. Bath Time says, aren't Snapdragon Qualcomm partners with Ineos in F1? Well, that has something to do with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, if you weren't aware. But yes. But yeah, that was a little bit of a roundup of the breaking news that has come out in the past few hours with the Manchester United takeover. Sheikh Jassim, who is the representative for Qatar, should, according to Ben Jacobs, should not be ruled out. Manchester United, according to Ben Jacobs again, will be the figure, the valuation is around £6 billion. Bath Time says, big up the famous cobblers, JD Sports. I do actually have. I don't work there anymore. I finished working there in 2019, but I still do have the uniform, and I've been wearing it today. Man United fan says, hello Anton. Hello Man United fan. Man United fun, sorry. I am not being carried away by the Qatari takeover news. I'm just keeping calm. Yeah, I'm not as well. I'm obviously, you know, learning about it. I'm taking it in. I'm trying to understand it as much as I can, but in terms of, yeah, we're going to be bought by November or December, I'm not getting any sort of excitement for that. But before we move on to the next topic, which will be the match reaction for the Burnley game, let me just say there are quite a few of you watching in here, so make sure you have hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, as well as the like button. I've just seen someone else hit the like button, so thank you very much. Also, make sure if you haven't already, follow at MUFC MPB over on Twitter, as well as myself, Ash, and Anil. Those other two are the other two presenters on this. Of course, as I said before, I will be streaming FIFA this year. I'm actually going to try on FIFA this year. I've already loaded up some FIFA points. I'm going hard. It's going to be a road to glory. I play a lot of games, as in every single day. So there will be almost daily streams, maybe every other day or 4 or 5 days a week for you guys to enjoy if you're into that stuff. I also play Call of Duty and all that other stuff as well. I know that Ash, the other presenter on here, one of them, he streams as well. So make sure you follow Ash. Keep up to date with all of his streaming activity. He's going to be streaming FIFA for sure, I know. So if you like him as well, make sure you follow him up on Twitch. And Anil as well, you'll catch him on other platforms. He has been on TalkSport. He's a very knowledgeable guy. He's very well spoken. I like watching him. So if you haven't seen one of his streams, he streams on Tuesdays. He streams on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. on this. So make sure you follow him as well, so you know when he goes live. But yeah, make sure you follow at MUFC MPB. Myself, Ash, and Anil. All of our links will be in the description down below. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll be very, very grateful. But back to the comment. Zayn says, a source whose father is directly close to Jassim asked him a few weeks ago. He said he's been patient. Take that as you wish. Yeah, these things take time. Like, they do take time. I know we saw Chelsea get sold relatively quickly, but we have to understand that that specific situation was a little bit different. It was a lot more political, and they had to find a solution extremely quickly. So I feel like a lot of people watched that and thought, maybe Manchester United might be taken over if Chelsea could be taken over so quickly. I don't know why my mind just went so blank. Bath Time says, until I see Sheikh holding up the jersey, I'm treating it all as nonsense. As you should, like you should. We've been given so many rides here. So, you know, take everything with a pinch of salt or a big tablespoon, whichever you want. Zayn says, HBJ Jassim's dad on an interview with David Rubenstein. My son says, my sons like these things. They are pushing hard in relation to wanting to buy Manchester United. Keep it up. Push harder because we need to get it sold. Is it me or have US investors gone under the radar? I kind of think that investors from the US are kind of more in tune or more understanding of the fact that we might not want US investors because of what we've previously had and the prejudices that will come along with it. So they might not be too keen. What happened in Amsterdam today should scare the Glazers. I was going to talk about that as well. Manchester United fans will never do that. In England in general, we're not the most, we have protests, peaceful protests, and I want to say riots, but the last riot I could think of was the London riots. But we don't have what France have. When there's a problem, they're in the streets, they're doing all their stuff. We don't have what Ajax have. They're going through problems at their club right now, and they're quite literally destroying the stadium. It gets the point across. Manchester United fans won't do that. The most we've done is go onto the pitch and have a game postponed. But what has that done? Where has that got us? Nowhere. Don't expect... I'm not scared. If I was a Glazers, I wouldn't be scared because of what happened in Amsterdam. What does MPB stand for? I'm not sure. The person who runs the account, I'd imagine it's his initials, but I'm not sure. I can't say for sure. And how's it a road to glory if you're spending FIFA points? It's my road. This is my road to glory. I never ever put FIFA points on, as in maybe I've done it once or twice because I've just never wanted to, or I've never felt the need to, but you kind of have to nowadays, and I'm bored of getting to January and I don't have the coins to buy a team of the year, and all of my friends who've put £200 of FIFA points on I'm not doing that anymore. I'm sick to death of it. I'm sick. So I have put FIFA points on, Might put more on, not sure, but I can't be I can't be playing 85 rated teams at the beginning of the game with my non-rares, basically. Not gonna happen. So yeah, even if you do want to watch, it's gonna be, I'm gonna try and put it on YouTube as well, like, you know, actual episodes, edit the stream, blah blah blah, all of that stuff, because I enjoy that stuff, and I play a lot of games, so why not? Jack Moff says investors want too big a portion of shares for their money, which is why it has been the chosen solution. What happened in Amsterdam? Ajax messed up the stadium. I don't know where they are on the table, but I think they're near the relegation zone. Flares thrown into the Ajax front office. Good. They should be thrown into the Glazers offices. I bet if Qatar come in, Ten Hag would have more license to be ruthless and wanting to. 100%, 100%. It all goes back to the Glazers, because it all goes back to money, the amount they have to pay players if they get rid of them, if they terminate contracts, if they get rid of someone else. If they get rid of someone, they have to bring someone else in, and it costs money. It all goes back to the Glazers. It all goes back to them not wanting to spend money, because the more money they spend, the less profit they get. And don't forget, they don't put their own money in. They use the money that the club generates, and they want their dividends. They want as much profit as possible. I had to save up for 3 months to buy Mbappe last year. Think I'm more frugal on FIFA than in real life. I only got Mbappe at the end when it was like 200k. Like at the end. So, yeah. Thoughts on Hannibal performance is something which we'll be speaking about a bit later on in the episode. I do have a... Well, you can't see it, but I do have a list. I even have his stats here on my screen. If you can see that. I even have his stats on the screen, so I'm ready why. Don't worry. MUFC, like the story from Ben Jacobs or whoever it was means nothing. Technically, but technically not. Do you think Ten Hag survives the takeover attempt? 100% I think he survives. No, I think he survives. I think he survives the takeover attempt. I think if the Qataris take over, I think he survives. If someone else, it might be a bit more risky. If Qatar come in and implement a new structure with signings based on the stats and play style defined by a supporting director like Tuchel, Ten Hag might not survive through it. But this is something. Look, I like Ten Hag a lot. I think he is the right man for the job. I think a lot of people are undervaluing the progress he's made. I know we haven't had the best start to the season, but there are a lot of factors. We've had a lot of injuries. We've had a lot of second, third choice signings. We have to take these things into consideration. If somebody else comes in and they prefer another manager and the other manager does well, then the other manager does well. Like, it is what it is. At the end of the day, whether or not you have a soft spot for Ten Hag or Varane or Rashford, say for example, I'm gonna say this right now. If we had the opportunity to buy someone like Vinny Jr., it's not going to happen, but if we did, and it meant we had to get rid of Rashford, I'd get rid of Rashford, because Vinicius Jr. is better. It's all about making the club the best you can make it with the facilities that are available to you. If the new owner comes in and they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions to spend continuously, i.e. the Qataris, and they say, oh, we want Roberto De Zerbi because we believe he might be a better fit for Manchester United, we have the finances to back him, the style of football he plays we prefer and we think it suits Manchester United more, and then you go and get De Zerbi. If he does better than Ten Hag, it can't be, oh, we should have given Ten Hag the license because we have new owners. It's, oh, we have Roberto De Zerbi now, get behind him, support him, get his signings in, maximise the potential. If the Qataris come in and keep Ten Hag and he does well, then cool, yeah. It's whoever they think is the best manager for the job, and at the moment I think it's Erik Ten Hag. If somebody, I'm not the owner though, but if somebody else comes in and they change the manager, then cool. Whatever, it is what it is. We just have to hope for the best. That's all we can do as fans, hope for the best. Another bid from Qatar is possible. 100% is possible. They will definitely put another bid in. It's just taken a long time. Is there any news on how much they bid for Man United? If apparently, according to Ben Jacobs, 6 billion is the figure they should bid around or get close to, because they will have a better chance of securing the club. 4S, 4 ace, so there's more passion, more energy, more passion, more energy, more energy. Wasn't Ben Jacobs the guy who said Amrabat wouldn't happen? I have no idea. I couldn't say yes or no to that, so I don't want to, lie. It is Sunday, guys. Bath Time says, if you spend 6 billion plus, you want your own men in. 100%. I would want my own men in. I'd be pissed. I mean, I'd be annoyed if I spent 6 billion and couldn't change the carpet. Do you know what I mean? So they can do what they want at the end of the day, but obviously they have to make the right decisions, and time will tell if they get the club and if they do make the right decisions. If you're looking for someone to blame, it is Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Even if he has gone for the whole club instead of half, the Glazers would have been more competitive. Would have more competitive tension with Qatar, likely to outbid any rival offer. Jim Ratcliffe wanted to get the club however he could, and he was gonna let the Glazers stay, and I don't think it would have gone well for him. It's just bait, and we shouldn't fall for it. Yeah, Rashford is 5-star free. Oh, I'm talking about real life. I'm not talking about FIFA, but that is nice to know. I'm gonna be doing a pack opening, so make sure you watch that, innit? If Qatar buys us, even if they bring a new manager in, they will be quality. We might sign Mbappe if Qatar secure the club. That's just a pipe dream. And your name is Schneider, so that's even... I'm just saying, that is a big coincidence. Schneider says Manchester United will buy Qatar. I mean, Manchester United will buy Mbappe if Qatar sign the club. Don't know, lad. Don't know about that. But let's move on to the match reaction from yesterday. Insider United, good evening. Good evening, bro. Make sure there are a few more people in here. It's great to see so many people watching, by the way, on a Sunday evening. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the like button. Make sure you do follow at MUFC MPB over on Twitter, or X as it's called now, as well as myself, Ash and Anil. All of our links will be in the description down below. Make sure you follow me. Make sure you follow me, guys. I will be streaming on Twitch some FIFA gameplay, pack openings, a little Road to Glory, which will be uploaded on YouTube as well. I'm actually just making some channel art, or trying to get everything sorted. So, because I really want to play tonight. I bought it yesterday and I haven't played it yet because I've been trying to sort stuff out. But make sure you do follow all of us over on X for all the latest Manchester United updates, news, leaks, transfer news, squad news, anything to do with Manchester United will be posted over on MUFC MPB. But I am very appreciative of you guys watching. But let's just move on. So yesterday, of course, Manchester United played Burnley at Turf Moor and we won 1-0 through a fantastic goal from Bruno Fernandes. But it could have been 2, and it should have been 2. We're going to start off by talking about the handball. Not the handball. The offside goal. Johnny Evans opened the scoring briefly for Manchester United from a corner. It was a direct header from a corner. Reguilon swung it in. However, Rasmus Højlund was standing in an offside position. If a player is standing in an offside position and they don't get a touch on the ball, then a goalie's vision might be impaired. If the goalkeeper cannot see because, the offside player is standing right in front of them, rightly so, the goal is disallowed. However, if a player is standing in an offside position and it's not impeding the goalkeeper's vision, it's not an offside. Rasmus Højlund was not impeding James Trafford's vision. In fact, Trafford pushed him out of the way before that. He was never going to make the save because he just wasn't. And the goal got disallowed. A few weeks ago, I think you'll remember, it was Manchester City, I want to say versus Fulham, but I might be wrong. Nathan Ake scored a header, pretty much exactly the same situation in which Manuel Akanji was way offside, maybe like 3 or 4 yards offside, and the ball went through his legs. That goal was given. Now I'm going to talk about something as well, because the North London derby happened today. It was 2-2 Arsenal-Tottenham, but Arsenal were awarded a penalty. Arsenal were awarded a penalty for a handball. It was inside the box, maybe just inside the 6-yard box or just outside the 6-yard box. Almost point blank range. Romero's hand was back here, but he was like, sliding down. It was given as a penalty. Alejandro Garnacho took a shot from outside the box and maybe about, 8 or 9 feet. The ball travelled and hit Romero's arm. It wasn't given as a penalty. I think all we're asking here all we're asking for here is consistency, because that's a Stonewall penalty that wasn't given to Manchester United and a certain goal that wasn't given to Manchester United. It just seems to be VAR for the Premier League and then VAR for Manchester United when it suits, and however way they can find a way to disallow goals and whatever not. But luckily for us, Johnny Evans' goal wasn't, the only time we found the back of the net. Bruno Fernandes, of course, with one of the best goals I've seen in a long time. I think something like that may go under the radar because it's Fernandes. But the technique on that strike was absolutely brilliant. It reminded me of Manchester United against Aston Villa, 2012-13. The title-winning game. Robin Van Persie's volley from Rooney's ball. Obviously not the same exact pass and distance, but Johnny Evans with the weak foot pass. He had an absolute blinder yesterday. But that's something we'll talk about in a little bit. But it was a fantastic, fantastic goal. And I think we did deserve the win. But I have the stats here for the game yesterday. And we're just going to go through them. Because on paper, it doesn't look like we played very well against Burnley. They finished the game with 62% ball possession. They had a higher expected XG. They had more shots. They had more accurate passes. Less fouls. Less offsides. More corners. They came closer to scoring on more occasions. And they hit the crossbar. Or the woodwork. Not going to lie. On paper it looks good. But if I'm honest with you, I don't think Ten Hag will be too disappointed with the performance beside the result, because when we're on the ball, we're able to create chances quicker than Burnley. We're able to do stuff quicker. I want to point out three players in particular that I think had very good games besides Bruno Fernandes. So we're going to start with Casemiro, who I think has come in with a lot of just criticism recently. He hasn't been very good as of late. He hasn't been very good this season. I can understand why fans are saying maybe this might be his last season as a Manchester United first team starter, or he's going to be on his way out in January or next summer. But we have to remember, this guy's a five times Champions League winner. He's a captain of the Brazilian side. He's top three in his position in world football. Yeah, he might have had a slow start to the season, but so did many of our players. And I think yesterday's game was a perfect example of what he can do. I think we saw him find a little bit of an extra edge in his step. He was faster across the ground. He was winning more tackles. On the ball, he was better as well. And I do have his stats here, just to take you through them. He played the full 90. 30 out of 37 passes were made, so that is an 81% pass completion rate. 1 block shot, 52 touches, and 6 passes into the final third. He was only dispossessed once and made 3 out of 5 accurate long balls. He won 67% of his tackles, so 2 out of 3. 1 clearance, 1 interception, 7 recoveries, and he was only dribbled past once. Now, in that game alone, he was dribbled past once compared to the 7 or 8 times he'd been dribbled past in the Premier League before. So you can definitely see an improvement there. And given the possession that Burnley had, I think that's a very, very solid performance. He won 100% of his aerial drills. He committed 3 fouls and was fouled once himself. Say what you want about Casemiro. Me personally, I've never wanted him to be dropped. I still think he's one of the best, and I'm sure that he'll come good for us this season. I'm in no doubt. Any midfield has to have Casemiro in it for Manchester United. Anything else I don't think is acceptable. I don't think you can drop him. No, they made SOC. I don't know what SOC, system on chip, means. Oh, SOC means a mobile chip that contains CPU, GPU, RAM, storage. Swear down. That's really good. Johnny Evans was class. Yes, he was class. That part, he just ran it back. He ran back the years. He was going back to 2012, 2011, Johnny Evans. He looked very, very composed. And this is a question that I'm going to put in the chat for you guys. It is going to be a poll, because you know how I do love polls on YouTube. Does Evans start against against Palace in the Now, I put a poll in the chat for you guys here. The question being, does Johnny Evans start against Palace in the Premier League? And I say in the Premier League because, of course, we do have Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup midweek, and then we have them again. So we have a double header against Crystal Palace this week. I think off that performance alone, he deserves to start. And I think this will say a lot about the way Manchester United is run in terms of Eric Ten Hag. Johnny Evans had a very, very, very good game. It was very accomplished. It was very experienced. You could tell he had an experienced head on his shoulders. If he doesn't start the next game, I think it tells you a lot of what you might already be thinking or what you need to know, because players should be playing on form, on merit. They should earn their spot. They shouldn't just get the spot because, you know, they're Varane. And I know Varane came on. He came on late in the game because I think Reguilon picked up a little knock, or he might have been taken off as precaution. But Johnny Evans definitely deserves to start. And whether that's next to Lindelof or Varane, I don't know. But if Evans isn't in the next starting lineup, then I think you know, you might have to look at something. Man United Fund says VAR has cost us 2 games now. It's cost us way more than 2 games. This season, yes, but in general, way more than 2 games. Khaled says, I didn't watch live, and I noticed that right now, so I refreshed. That's why my comment was to answer you when you say they make operating systems. Oh, it's alright, don't worry. When everyone is fit, what's your first 11? Onana in goal. At the moment, I'm going to put Reguilon at left back because I prefer the way he attacks over Luke Shaw. But I do think Luke Shaw is better overall. I'll put Reguilon at left back. I'd have... Okay, everybody's fit and on form. Lisandro Martinez and Varane at centre back. I'd have Diogo Dalot at right back. In the midfield, it would be Casemiro with I'm gonna say Mason Mount in it. I'm gonna say Casemiro, Mason Mount, and Fernandes in the middle. Rashford on the left, Hoyland up front, and Pellistri on the right. I like Pellistri a lot. I'm a big fan of Pellistri, but I'm waiting for Ahmad because I don't know what Ahmad can add to this team because I haven't seen it yet. So he's on standby. Evans should start. He definitely should be starting against Crystal Palace midweek, and hopefully if he continues his good form against Crystal Palace on the weekend. But we obviously have to wait and see. Varane is back. I'm not sure about Martinez because there was a little bit of a pain in his foot. He's having the pain in the spot in which he injured his foot. So there are definitely going to be a lot of precautions taken. Wise team here says Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, Reguilon, Casemiro, Amrabat, Mount, Bruno, Rashford, Hoyland. I'm guessing Rashford's on, Bruno's on the right there. So that is a midfield of Casemiro. That's I don't mind that, you know. I don't mind that. That works. I know Bruno isn't really a right winger or a right midfielder, but he does do a job there. However, I do want to see him. I want as many of our players in their best position as possible because it will just mean better results, won't it? But that's Wise team there. Reguilon as well. I believe he might have picked up a little bit of a hamstring strain. Let me just find this. A hamstring strain yesterday. Yeah, he pulled up and he came off, which is why Varane came in. But I haven't seen any updates on he's going to be out for 6 weeks or 2 months. I don't know the length of this or whether it was just for that game. He might be back against Palace. I don't know. But he did walk off. He didn't require any medical assistance on the pitch. So that is one positive we can take from that. Wise says Mount on the right. He's had his best numbers playing off the right. That is true. Okay, that makes sense. Bruno Fernandes in the middle, Mount on the right. Yeah, I'd do that. I think that would be a well-balanced side because with Mount on the right, you have a lot of... you have someone who's going to track back. You have someone who's going to put tackles in. Someone who can put balls on a 5-pence piece. Why wouldn't you want that on the right? With his right foot naturally outswinging crosses. So There was a cross that Dalot put in yesterday, and Højlund wasn't able to get on the end of it. But just imagine that 5 or 6 times a game from Mount and Dalot. I think Mount and Dalot on the right could be a very, very good partnership, and I'm not just saying that. But let's talk about another player who I think had a very, very good game yesterday. Hannibal Mejbri, the youth talent. He played the full 90, which, you know what, I was surprised that he played the full 90 actually. I was surprised to see him start. But let me just go through his stats for you guys to highlight the impact he had on the game. There were no goals or assists for him. He had 22 out of 24 accurate passes, so a 92 pass completion rate. And playing in that number 10 role, I think is very, very impressive. 2 chances created. Expected assists, 0.48. He had 36 touches, 0 successful dribbles, 7 passes into the final third. 1 accurate long ball, so 100%. He won all of his tackles, made 1 block, 7 recoveries, and he was only dribbled past once. He won half of his ground duels, so he won 3 out of 6. He won 1 out of his 3 aerial duels, so 33%. He didn't commit a foul, and he was fouled just once. I don't know, just from those stats alone, in terms of mainly the on-the-ball stats, he didn't dribble much. I don't think he's much of a dribbler. I think he's the mould of a Bruno Fernandes, someone who gets on the ball and wants to make that action straight away. Or if they can't, they're going to hold on to it until they can. Which can be a positive and can be a negative. But I liked the way he played yesterday. He's a very tenacious player. And I think as often as the jokes get made about the cameo he had against Liverpool last season when he came on and was just going through players, he got a booking, I think he was hacking players down. He is a very, very valuable asset to the team, and I think Ten Hag can see that, especially if he's starting and finishing a game away in the Premier League. I think it shows a lot of confidence from the manager, and I think, well, I'm absolutely sure Hannibal will be like, wow, he's actually putting his faith in me. And I think it gives a lot of the other youth players a bit of confidence as well, because you've got Kobbie Mainoo coming back, you've got Dan Gore, who's been on the bench a lot, someone who I'm a big fan of. That it'll be interesting to see with Dan Gore what happens, because he was on the bench against Bayern, he was also on the bench against Burnley. We might be seeing some minutes against Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup if we, might be in a winning position or we're comfortable in the game. I wouldn't be surprised, because when you've got youth players on the bench regularly, it's not, oh yeah, just let's throw a youth player on the bench because, it's a youth player. It's they've been playing well and they actually deserve some minutes if we're in a certain sort of situation. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Dan Gore against Crystal Palace. Hannibal has to start against Crystal Palace, and if he doesn't, again, you just look back at Ten Hag and think, why are you playing him for the full 90, getting a brilliant performance out of him against Burnley, and not playing him against Palace? If he doesn't play against Palace in midweek, then he has to play against Palace on the weekend. I think players should be playing on merit, and they deserve to be there, and I think he deserves it. But I think that's a very, very good segue onto Ten Hag. Now, Ten Hag obviously was the former manager of Ajax, who aren't doing too well. But one thing that Ajax fans did tell us on social media and whatever was that he's quite stubborn and he doesn't rotate that much. And I think that's something we're definitely starting to see this season. I think with Ten Hag, you have someone there who has something in his head and he knows what he wants to see in his head, and he can see it almost happening on the pitch. When it comes to signings, he has, okay, I have De Jong there in my head and he's going to be partnered by Casemiro. And we're going to be doing this and this. And then when he doesn't get De Jong, or when he doesn't get the player he wants, when he doesn't get Kane, or when he doesn't get anybody, it just doesn't work for him. And I think with the lack of rotation, added on to the fact that he didn't get the players he actually wanted, I think this is the result. I think the way we've started the Premier League season is the result of all of these different factors coming in and hampering him. However, I do think he had a good match against Burnley yesterday. I think he made the right choices. I think he picked the right lineup. Although a lot of us wanted to see Facundo Pellistri start on the right, a lot of us were shocked to see Scott McTominay start, as well as Hannibal Mejbri. It obviously paid off. We won the game. As much possession as Burnley had, I think we were in control of proceedings, and I think as you can tell by the scoreline, we won 1-0. I think it was a good result, and I think Ten Hag will be happy with that, and I think we should be happy with Ten Hag's performance. However, I do think that more players should be given an opportunity. I think this is where the stubbornness comes in with Erik Ten Hag. You've got Scott McTominay, who put in a disaster class against Bayern Munich on the week in the midweek. How did he get a start? I think if players are fit enough to come on, then they're fit enough to start. I don't believe it should be bring players on to rescue the game. I think it should be start your strongest side. Yeah, Rafael Varane might not be able to play the full 90, but take him off after 60. Secure as much as you can whilst you have your best team on. And then you bring on the subs, the fresh legs to keep what you're doing going. Because I don't know how Scott McTominay started that game. I wasn't happy with his performance. I think he should have gone. I think we really did fumble the bag, not taking that 30 million from West Ham, because we could have gone and got somebody else with that. But those are the only criticisms that I would take from Erik Ten Hag from the game. But before I do move on, I'm just going to say again, make sure you do hit that like button. We've got 14 likes right now. Let's see if we can get that to 20 in the next 10 minutes. There are 27 of you watching right now, so we can definitely get that to 20 likes. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Try and get us to 1.44 thousand followers and help build this little community. Make sure you do follow at MUFC MPP over on Twitter, or X as it is called now, for all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, as well as squad updates, reports from journalists. Anything to do with Manchester United is on at MUFC MPB. Make sure you do follow myself as well as the other two presenters as well, Ash Meppers and Anil Kandola, myself, Anton Brooks. All of our links will be in the description down below. Make sure you follow me, because I will be streaming FIFA as well, making a little RTG, as well as Call of Duty, and when the new GTA comes out, hopefully I'll be uploading that on YouTube as well. But make sure you do follow all of us as well as at MUFC MPB for all the latest news with Manchester United and ourselves. So let's just move on. We have a double header against Crystal Palace this week. We have the first match against them in the Carabao Cup midweek, and then of course we have the second fixture against them in the Premier League. I believe it is on Saturday, but let me just double check that. We have the Carabao Cup game on Tuesday. We have the Carabao Cup game at Old Trafford on Tuesday, and then at Old Trafford again on Saturday at 3 p.m. So 2 home fixtures in a row against Crystal Palace are 2 very, very winnable games, and I'll be very disappointed if we don't get 2 wins from them, to be honest. They of course do have some good players. Elise is still injured. They have Eberici Eze. They have Mark Gurhey, who I'm a massive fan of, and I would take him at Manchester United, as well as Anderson in the centre back positions. So they do have some good players. But let me just go back to the agenda. Let me get your guys' team. That's what I wanted to start off with. Your guys' team for the Crystal Palace game with the players that we have available. Of course, we have Amrabat available. We should have Mason Mount available. We have Rafael Varane available. I'm going to assume that we have Sergio Reguilon available. But let's just go through what you guys think the team is going to be for the Carabao Cup game against Crystal Palace. And I will type along with you guys in the chat just to... I don't know how to spell his name, but it's the Turkish keeper, Beynder. Dalot. So I'm going to go with Beynder in goal, Dalot at right back, Evans and Lindelof in the centre back positions, the same as the Burnley game, and then I'm going to go with Reguilon in the left back role. I'm going to go with Amrabat in the deepest lying midfield role, next to... He's probably going to play McTominay again, if I'm honest. And I'm going to put Fernandes just in front with Garnacho on the left. Højlund up front. Actually, I'm going to go with Garnacho, Martial, and Pelistri on the right. So my team for the Crystal Palace game is Beynder in goal with Dalot, Evans, Lindelof and Reguilon in the defence, Amrabat, McTominay and Fernandes in the midfield, Garnacho, Martial and Pellistri on the right. This is the team that I think Erik ten Hag could play, because you have the back four is they've played together already. Amrabat is coming into play. McTominay's starting games, whether we like it or not. And Fernandes, of course, is Fernandes. Garnacho, he definitely should be playing. Martial has actually been... His cameo against Bayern Munich, I think, was very good, by the way. So I think he deserves a start, especially in the Carabao Cup. And Pellistri as well, he's been quite good. So I think he'll get a start as well. However, I do think that Rashford could start again over Garnacho. And I do think that Mason Mount might get a start in over Pellistri. So I wouldn't be surprised to see those two come in. Khalid says, I'm worried about the left-back situation. I don't know if we have another left-back. Reguilon was the emergency signing because obviously Malacia's out. He should be on his way back soon, by the way. And obviously Luke Shaw as well. Brandon Williams is out on loan, and also Alvaro Fernandez. So all four of our actual club left-backs aren't available. And if Reguilon's hamstring injury is more serious than we think, then that's five players in one position unavailable, which I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, but unfortunately for Manchester United, it might be the reality. But hopefully he is available. I do think we'll get both wins. However, I do think that Eberechi Eze is someone that we do have to keep tabs on, which is why I think Sofiane Amrabat might be there, because he is quicker across the ground. And Eberechi Eze is a very, very silky. He's smooth. Everything looks aesthetically really pleasing with Eze. And I'm a bit worried. I would take it. Like, I like Eze. I would take him at Manchester United, if I'm totally honest with you guys. And I'm surprised that we haven't gone in for him, especially after the way he ended last season. But he is someone that we definitely have to keep an eye on. Sheriff says, I remember Sheriff. Hello, Sheriff. I remember you. I miss you so much, man. I miss you too, man. That made me smile. Where have you been? I've been living... I've not really been anywhere. I've still been in the same place. But this channel is back. I am back, as well as Ash Meppers and Anil, two other presenters who will be presenting on this channel. But I'll be back on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, all at 7 p.m. So make sure you come back, Sheriff. I do remember all of the mods, by the way. I remember all of the mods. I remember a lot of names that were here from last year, and it is nice to see. It is nice to see the same people, if I'm honest. So keep on coming back. I'm always going to be here. Sorry. I couldn't burp or hiccup or swallow my spit or anything. Gosh, sorry guys. But of course, we are coming to the end of the show today. And I just want to leave you guys with the current Premier League table, because all of the fixtures have happened this weekend. I'm going to go through some of the results. If you guys don't know them already, here they are. Arsenal played Tottenham. It was 2-2. Brighton beat Bournemouth 3-1. Chelsea lost to Aston Villa 1-0. Liverpool beat West Ham 3-1. And Newcastle beat Sheffield United 8-0. So that happened. 8 different scorers, which I don't think has happened for the same team, which I don't think has happened in the Premier League in a long time, or ever actually. And Manchester United in the Premier League table, we are currently sitting 9th, equal on points with Newcastle. We are currently 9 points, but Manchester City have double our points. We are 9. We're not. Yeah. Okay. Manchester United are 9 points behind Manchester City, 7 points behind Liverpool, 6 points behind Brighton, 5 behind Tottenham and Arsenal, 3 behind Aston Villa, 1 behind West Ham. And we are equal on points with Newcastle. We are currently sitting 9th in the table. Hopefully after our next Premier League game, which is against Crystal Palace, we'll get another win, get some points on the board, hopefully help our goal difference as well, because it is currently -3. We really need to get back up to scratch. But because some of our injuries are coming back and they are becoming available, we might be in with a good chance. We might be in with a better chance of just getting win after win after win. Hopefully that is the case. But guys, if you have any more questions for me, the poll, 35 votes. Does Evans start against Crystal Palace? 53% of you are saying... Okay, here we go. 53% said... 52% said yes and 47% said no. So it was quite of an even split. I'm guessing that is 19 votes for yes and 17 votes for no, I would imagine, if my maths is correct there. So we got a good response. I'm happy to see all of you guys interacting with the channel. If you do have any more questions, make sure to get them through as soon as possible, as we are coming to the end of the stream. I will just leave you guys with this one more time. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button as well as the like button. Make sure you follow at MUFC MPP over on Twitter, or X as it's called now, for all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, as well as squad updates, reports, journalists reporting about Manchester United and anything to do in and around the club. Make sure you follow myself on Twitter, as well as Ash and Anil. All of our links will be in the description down below. I know for a fact that Ash will be streaming FIFA this year, or EA FC 24 as it is called now, as well as myself. I'll be doing a little Road to Glory, as well as a career mode, playing Call of Duty, and some GTA and other stuff. Football Manager as well when it comes out. So make sure you do follow that. I will be streaming on Twitch, as well as uploading, you know, videos from the Twitch on YouTube. So make sure you stay up to date with that. Hit that follow button, and hit the follow button on Twitch, on Twitter as well, for myself, Anil, Ash, and MUFC MPB. All of the links will be in the description down below. But so nothing has come through yet, so I will be saying my goodbyes. I will be seeing you guys next Thursday at 7 p.m. Ash will be joining you lot tomorrow at 7 p.m. Anil on Tuesday, Ash again on Wednesday, and then myself on the Thursday. So I hope you guys have had a great weekend. Also as well, we can all watch Match of the Day, because Manchester United won. If you have Match of the Day if you're living in England. But I'll be seeing you guys on Thursday. It's been great talking to you. It's great seeing all the new faces, as well as the old faces. Make sure to be back here next Thursday at 7 p.m. But until then, I hope you guys have a very good week. If you guys have just started uni as well, I hope Freshers was a very good experience for you. But make sure you make sure you buckle down with your uni work. Freshers is over now. The university starts now. I wish you very good luck, and I wish you have a very good time at uni, and I wish you have a very good time at work. But I'll see you